Welcome to our presentation on mastering advanced deal structuring for leases with TValue Online. Think of those stars right there as numbers and dates, and basically you take those numbers and dates and throw them into the hat, which is TValue, and you'll get your calculations and pricing that you need. Very simple to do, just magic. So our agenda, we're going to do a quick tour. I'm going to show you some relevant features, walk you through the input, the compute setup, report, event, special series, and then we're going to do a series of case studies. I'm going to go quickly through the tour. If you're not familiar with some of these items, you can go through our basic presentation, and we spend a little bit more time on that. So we're going to go through events, show you some shortcuts for the date and also for the amount. So let's go to TValue real quick. So we said we're going to show you some items. So in the input, depending on how your ribbon looks, it may be a little different, but anything that's left over goes into more. Input here, we do offer how you set up your files. So here we're going to use monthly. Most of our calculations will be monthly. And we're going to use lease since we're in the leasing industry. We do offer different groups, which I'll show you in a second, but you can do loans and deposit withdrawals and investments. So when I set up lease, all my future defaults I'll save as default, and all my future schedules will come up that way. Under compute, we do offer 4 different computation methods. We're going to use normal compound interest. That means any unpaid interest gets capitalized, added to the balance. We also offer U.S. rule and rule of 78, which is often used in the leasing industry. We have 3 different year lengths. 365 is the most common, which we'll use. And we do offer a 30 over 360 calculation, where every month is 30 days. A little bit different calculation, but that's something we offer. Once again, all these settings you want to save as your default. That's how every schedule will open. Under event names here, you can set up different event names and customize them. We're going to use this lease group. So if you wanted to put, let's say, a discount or deposit and refund or something, you're allowed basically 5 debits and 5 credits. Last thing I want to show you is special series. Special series is our creative financing tool. You can get it in a couple different ways, but simple ways, just go here. And we offer everything from doing interest only, amount step, percent step. We do this monthly skip series, which I will show you in one of our examples. And all you have to do is activate those, and they're very simple to do. We'll show you a couple during the presentation. And finally, under report setup, when you go to the amortization schedule, you do have the ribbon here. This is information that you can include or exclude easily from your amortization schedule. So let's go back. So TValue is a very powerful program in the fact that you can structure deals many different ways very simply and literally get the numbers right every time. It's a great line I read in one of my leasing books. It says, structure payments around customers' needs. The quote was, when the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem begins to resemble a nail. Moral of the story, don't be a hammer, use TValue. So let's show you how to use TValue. We're going to do some advanced case studies. We're going to do a commission calculation with a buy rate. We'll do a buy-sell rate to figure out what the commission is. Show you how to do rate factor a couple different ways. How to do an imputed interest rate when you have the cash flows. You don't know what the interest rate is. We'll do some kind of creative deferred payments, monthly skips, step up, step down, amount step, split step. The bottom line is we're just showing you different things that you can do and kind of give you some ideas on deal structuring. You obviously have to work with your customer and your lender. You can't get too creative, But these are just to give you some ideas of what you can do with TValue. So let's do our first case. Let's say we have commissions. Let's do this first case. We want to calculate our commissions, and we have the buy rate, and we want to figure out what the sell rate would be. We can figure out how much commission we can put in the deal. So let's say we have a lease of $100,000. We have a commission of $7,000, and our term is 5 years or 60 months. We're going to have a buy rate of 5% and a payments in advance will have 1. And if we put our $7,000 commission in, we want to figure out what the buy rate, what the sell rate is going to be. Let's go to TValue. Let's go to new. So let's put in our data here. So we said to have a buy rate of 5%. We're going to have a lease here of $100,000. I can put $100K in. We're going to have payments in advance. So first of all, we're going to put our commission in. I'm going to hit C for commission. Commissions always go on the same date as a contract. I'm going to hit Shift M for month. I can hit month to go forward, Shift M to go backwards. That works also for D for day and Y for year. And we're going to put our commission in of $7,000. And now we're going to figure out what our cash flows are going to be. So we're going to have one payment in advance. So I'm going to hit Shift M again to get that first payment in advance. We'll put U in 60 for our number. And we're going to figure out what our cash flows are. So our payments are going to be $2,010 with a $7,000 commission with a 5% buy rate. We want to figure out what the sell rate is. So what we'd have to do is take out our commission, delete that, put U for unknown, calculate, and our sell rate will be 7.9%. So once you have the variables, you can do a two-step process to get your sell rate. Next calculation we'll do is, let's say we have both the buy and the sell rate, and we want to figure out what our commission is going to be. So we'll do the same thing. We'll have a lease of $100,000 for 5 years. We'll have a sell rate of 7%, a buy rate of 5%. We'll have one payment in advance, and we want to figure out what our commission is. So we'll go back here. This little blank document here, it starts a new schedule. And we said we're going to have a sell rate of 5%. So we'll do the buy rate first, the 7%. Do $100,000. We're going to figure out what our cash flows are. And we're going to have one payment in advance, we said. So we're going to hit Shift M again. One of the settings that you can set up, which I didn't mention before, under input setups, you can say 1 period after first cash flow. That's payments in arrears. You could also do payments in advance, so you can go same date as first cash flow. And if most of your schedules are that way, you can hit save as default. I'm going to go both ways throughout the presentation. We're going to right here, we're going to put U for unknown, put our 60 months in. I can put also 5Y, and I'll put the months in for me and calculate. And my payments are going to be $19.68 with the sell rate of 7%. So if I want to put my commission in, I'm going to insert a line. I'm going to hit C for commission. It's one of my events I have set up. I'm going to put U for unknown. I'm going to change it to the buy rate of 5%. And basically my commission is that 2-point spread. And if I hit calculate, my commission on the deal would be $4,700. Different ways to get there. So let's determine a rate factor. Rate factor is basically a multiplier based upon the yield on the deal and the deal structure. So if we have a deal here, we'll do $100,000, one payment in advance, 4 years deal. We'll have no residual, and we're going to have a 10% yield. And we should get a rate factor of 0.02515. See how we can do that. So we said we'll have a 10% deal. We'll do our $100,000. 100,000 is just easy because sometimes the numbers when we get multipliers and stuff are easy to understand. We said we'll have one payment in advance. I hit Shift M again. And we're going to put U for unknown and or 48 months. So I put 4Y or 48 and calculate. And you'll see that our payment is $25.15.30. The rate factor is basically you take your regular payment and divide it by the lease amount. So that would create your 0.02515. So very good, we got it exact. What if you're working with somebody and they only want to deal with the rate factor and they say, well, I'm getting a rate factor of 0.2515, can you beat it? You say, I can beat it. I can go ahead and put a 9.5% yield on the deal, put U for unknown, calculate, and say, what if I get you a 0.0249 rate factor? We do the deal. You say yes. So it's a way to back in and compete on a rate factor to rate factor basis. Imputed or implicit interest rate. That's basically the unstated interest rate. Once again, someone might be dealing with the rate factor or some other way of presenting their case. So let's do a $100,000 5-year, one payment in advance, and our payments are $2,000, and let's solve for the interest rate. I already did this once or twice in a couple of examples, but always good to do a special case. So whenever you're solving for the interest rate, you're going to put U for the nominal interest rate. By the way, TValue can solve for one variable between the interest rate, the principal, the payment, and the term, as long as you have the other three variables. Let's go ahead and put our 100K here. We said we'll have one payment in advance again. We're going to do 5 years. I'm going to put 5Y and calculate. Oops. Let's give me our payments for $2,000. I'm going to do a different case here. And we had 60 payments. And now we're going to calculate, and our yield on that deal would be 7.69. So once you have your cash flows and you have your term, you can back into the interest rate, which is called an imputed or implicit interest rate. So let's get a little more creative. Let's do deferred payments. I was a CFO once of a commercial printer, and I bought $1 million presses. And when you buy $1 million press, it takes a couple months to get it installed and operating. Then you have to sell some volume to it. So I always needed some time before I made my first payments because I wouldn't get any revenue off it. So this would be like a common type of deal. I want no payments for 3 months. I'm going to have a 10% yield or rate on the deal. Do it for 4 years for $100,000. We'll do payments in arrears and see how that works. So we said we're going to have a 10% deal. I'm doing simple deals because they're easy to understand, but the logic is still going to be the same. So we'll do $100,000. And now I'm going to put a 0 payment. We're going to put payments in arrears. I'm trying to defer payments as much as possible. I'm going to do 3 payments. And then we said we're going to do a 48-month deal, 4 years. So I'm going to put U for unknown. I already have 3 0 payments, so I'm going to have 45 remaining payments. And calculate, and my payments are $27.41. When I go to my amortization schedule, you'll see that my payments were 0. My interest is accruing. And since we have compound interest, my interest is capitalizing, added to the balance. And then my payments, after the next 45 payments, will pay off the loan or the lease and get it down to 0. So this way the yield is factored in the deal, even though the payments are being made for 3 months. Next case we want to do is the old monthly skip. This was a request by, it was either John Deere or Caterpillar, probably 25, 30 years ago. Where they said, you know, we have these farm equipment that we sell, and farmers don't have any income during the winter as a rule, and we need to figure out how to minimize their payments in the winter and get their full payments during the summer and have them be able to manage their cash flows. Also, we've done a lot of work with school teachers credit unions over the years, and this works really well for them because teachers don't get paid during the summer. So they get paid 10 months a year. So a lot of the credit unions will do this contact payment for the 2 months that they miss, and they amortize the lease or loan over the remaining payments. So let's assume we have a $100,000 deal, 48 months, one payment in advance, 10% rate, and we're going to skip months December, January, February, and March and do a contact payment of $500 in those months, and then figure out what the rest of the payments are going to be. Whoever programmed the monthly skip had to be a genius because it's very challenging to do. So we said we're going to have 10%, do 100K, and we'll have payments in arrears, I believe. No, we had payments in advance. So let's shift M, make an advance. And we're going to go to special series. So I'll put in my 60 months here, or excuse me, 48 months there, and go to my special series. Here I can activate the monthly skip, activate it, and my regular monthly payments are going to be U, and the amount on the skip months will be my contact payment, will be $500. And we said we're going to do December, January, February, and March. Hit OK, calculate, and my regular payments will be $35.74. When I go to my amortization schedule, you're going to see the regular payments, you're going to see the skip payments, and then you'll see the skip payments since we started in December. It'll be the first 4 months. Then we get into the regular season, and we have regular payments and back. One thing you got to be careful on is time value of money. If you did this proposal today, and then in 4 months you did the same proposal, but the payments started later at full amount, it would change your yield on the deal. This would actually improve it since you're getting your money quicker. But if the numbers were reversed, your yield could actually go down. So you got to be sensitive to when those skip payments are in play as far as doing your calculations. Okay, let's do a step up. Let's say you have something, we have that deferred payment of 3 months, but maybe you have a different situation. Maybe they can make payments the first year, but they want the payments to scale up. And this is something you'd also have to work with your lender if you're working with somebody. But let's do a step up. We're going to do 48 months with $1,000 the first year, $2,000 the second year. So we're creating these fixed numbers, and you can use any type of number you want depending on what works for both parties. And then we're going to figure out what the balance of the payments would be in years 3 and 4. So here's our assumptions. So we're going to have monthly, we're going to do 10%. We'll do our favorite 100K. And we're going to do payments in arrears since we're trying to defer payments a little bit. So we're going to do 1K for 12 months, 2K for 12 months, and then put U for unknown for the final 24 months, calculate, and our payments are at $38.31. When we go to the amortization schedule, you'll see that that $1,000 is almost an interest-only type of payment. It pretty much covers the interest, a little principal. Then you step it up, and then we'll step it up again. So good way to get there for an asset that may take a while to get some cash flows to support it. Let's do the flip side. Instead of a step up, we'll do step down. So what we want to do is this might be a depreciated asset that depreciates very rapidly, and you want to get the relative revenue and expense paralleling a little bit. So we would basically have 33% discount every 2 years over 5 years. So we'll see what happens on that. So we said our interest rate will be 10%, 100K as always. And now we're going to put U for unknown, and we said we're going to do that for 24 months. We'll do it for the first 2 years. Then I'm going to use my magical X factor, a weighted unknown. I can put 0.67X, which is going to discount at 33%. Do that for 24 months. And last 12 months, I'm going to go ahead and put 0.45x. So I'm going to take the 0.67, divide that by 33%, reduce it, and then put that in for my final 12 months. So I'm going to have my regular payment, reduce it by 33%, reduce it by 33%. And when I calculate, go to my amortization schedule, you'll see my payments were $2,700. Then they're reduced to $1,800, which is about a third. And then they'll be reduced from $1,800 to about $1,200, which is another third. So weighted unknown, if you want to get really creative, is a great little tool. Another way to play with the numbers and manipulate them a little bit is doing an amount step. An amount step allows you to step up the payments over a period of time. And let's say we have a 4-year deal. We'll do a $250,000. I want to keep you guys awake. And we'll do a 10% deal. And we're going to step it up 20% a year. So we're going to increase the payments a little bit. So we're going to keep it low at the beginning and then move it up and back end it a little bit. So we said we'll do 10%, 100K. And now we're going to one payment in advance. And we're going to put U for unknown, and we're going to put 12 months. And then we're going to increase it 20%. So I'm going to put 1.2x for 12 months. Then if I take 1.2 times 20%, that'd be 1.44x. That's 12 months. And finally, we'd have 1.72, which would be 20% of 1.44 times 12 months. Actually, I have to put in the x here, 1.72. And now we go to calculate. You'll see that our payments are $1,900, $23, $27, $33. That's an amount step. Finally, we're going to do another creative deal, which you probably may never do, but it's always fun to understand them, is a split lease. So split lease means that half the payments are going to be at one level, another half at the other level. You can either front end load it or back end load it. Let's go ahead and back end load this one. So we're going to 100,000, 60 months, 10%. We're going to decrease the payments on the second half of the loan by 50%. We'll do payments in arrears. And what ends up doing, we do 30 months at one payment amount and 30 months at the other. Now we've covered a lot of ground, a lot of creativity in this, but we're just trying to give you food for thought to use to make more money in your life doing deals. So here we're going to put U for unknown. We're going to do 30 months. So we're going to do half the deal, a regular payment, and then we're going to do half of the deal, 0.5x. A decreased amount for 30 months and calculate. And you'll see our payments are $27.20 and half of that would be $13.60. So those are our case studies. I hope we covered enough information to help you figure out how to do different deals and make some money. If you don't have our TValue Online, it's $60 per user per year. It's a subscription price. You do get unlimited support. You get access to our training videos, supports Monday through Friday. If you ever need any help, feel free to give us a call, 800-426-4741, or you can email us at info@timevalue.com. Thanks for listening.